Hello, family. Welcome back to the Young Podcast, the space where faith, finance, and purpose collide. Now, today we are diving into a topic that every young adult needs to hear. And today's episode is based on popular request because I've received several messages from so many young people asking me how they can avoid some of the financial mistakes they've been making in their life. So if you're a young person and you are just getting your first salary, or maybe you are trying to figure out something to do that can earn you some form of income, then this episode is for you because in this episode I'm going to talk about 5 money mistakes that young people make and then how you can actually avoid these mistakes. But before I begin, I would like to share a short story of mine. So I landed my first job right after senior high school when I completed, and this job was one that had to put me in the classroom. And I hope you understand what I mean by that. That means that I had to teach in a school. So during that period, there was something unique that I identified. At the end of the month, we were all given salaries. That is myself, together with my other colleagues. But one thing that I noticed was that before the end of the month, my other colleagues are actually looking for avenues through which they can receive loans for them to be able to cater for certain bills. So I asked myself, what about the salary that was given? Was that not enough? But guess what? I also ended up making those same mistakes where at the end of the day, the salary that I received was not enough to take me through that particular month. So at some point, I needed support from friends and families in order for me to be able to meet everything that I wanted. Now, I came to understand that the reason why I was facing some of these problems is because I wasn't really following some of the rules that had been outlined for young people in the field of finance. And some of these rules are there to guide young people to be able to help them to avoid some financial mistakes. And also, one thing that is very, very key is that I didn't know the difference between wants and then needs. Neither did I even have any idea about budgeting and then what it is. So, in today's episode, I'm going to be talking about 5 money mistakes young people make and then how you can avoid them. Let's dive in. Number one, not having a budget. A lot of people think budgeting is restrictive, but listen to me. A budget doesn't tell your money what you can't do, but rather it tells your money what you can do. I think I should take that again. So I said a budget doesn't tell your money what you can't do, but rather it tells your money what you can do. That means that without a plan, your money will disappear. So, as a young person who's into any form of business and you are earning at the end of the month, it is very, very important that you budget. There are so many principles that have been outlined or that have been given out to assist young people on how they can budget properly. But I developed one that I named the 50-10-40 rule, 50 by 10 by 40 rule. Guess what? So in this case, 50% of my salary that I've received, I use it for my needs. That is my rent, my bills, and several others. The 10%, of course, was for God, which is for tithes. Now, if you're a Christian, you should understand that anything that God places a demand on actually becomes a point of contention. But you need to know that this is also a law of covenant compliance. I know there has been some misconceptions and then several contentions around this area or the aspect of tithes, where Christians do not really have to tithe. But me as a believer, I believe in tithing, so I tithe. So that has to do with the 10%. So with the remaining 40%, what do I use it for? So the remaining 40% can be used for savings and then investment. The reason why I'm saying that is because as a young person, one of the most important things you should do or you should even think about is savings and investment. At some point, you can't really invest from the beginning. So what you do is that saving is what enables you for you to be able to invest. So as you keep saving little by little, once you are able to meet a certain amount that is huge enough for you to be able to invest, then you go ahead and invest. Notwithstanding, there are several opportunities in the country like Ghana that allows young people to be able to invest even the smallest amount of money at the end of every month. And this is one of the things that every young person should grab. So there's a quote by Dave Ramsey that I would like to reinstate, which says, a budget is telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. So you must understand that as a young person, budgeting is very, very important. And if you do not budget, you are going to end up spending everything that you are going to gain. And this is a mistake that you would not want to get yourself involved in. Mistake number two, living on credit and not cash. In my country, Ghana, so what most young people do is that, there are some of these telecommunication networks that provides young people the opportunity to apply for some form of loans that they automatically put in your SIM card or in your mobile wallet for you to be able to withdraw and then use for whatever thing that you want to use it for. Now, here is the key thing you must know. If you do not have a purpose for taking that particular loan, then my advice is that you do not even take it at all. There were times when I also took some of those loans, like the MTN quick loan, and then at the end of the day, I didn't even know what I used the money for. And it ended up becoming more like a load on my neck because how do I recover this? How do I get the money to be able to settle this loan? And guess what? As you keep taking that loan, you are also providing interest for that particular telecommunication network. And you, at the end of the day, if the money that you take in the form of the loan, you don't use it for any business that also provides or yields some form of interest for you, then you are going to be at the loss. So instead of you having to live on credit, live on cash. It is important for you to be able to manage whatever money that is being given to you or that you receive at the end of every month in the form of salary, rather than trying to go out for loans for you to be able to settle certain things. And as a young person, integrity is also key. I think I would have to address that in a different episode. So that is mistake number two, living on credit and not cash. Mistake number three, ignoring financial education. It is so sad that we go to school for over 20 years, some people even over 24 years, and then at the end of the day, nobody teaches us how to manage our money. So that means that financial education is something that is dependent on you yourself. You must learn to educate yourself financially. Now, how do you do that? You can watch YouTube videos, you can listen to financial podcasts. There are so many books there on finance that you can read, of which, of course, one of the best books that I would recommend for every young person to read is titled Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. There are several others like Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, so many other books that most young people can actually read in order for them themselves financially. And to my Christian brothers and sisters out there, pursuing financial education doesn't mean you are actually a carnal Christian. No, it's what unlocks you for you to be able to fulfill your future, as well as whatever plans that God has in stock for you. Because guess what? Without money, you can't fulfill destiny. God is key, but you also need finance. You need support for you to be able to execute whatever thing or whatever goal or aspiration that you have or you've set for yourself that you want to achieve as a young person. Mistake number four, not saving or investing early. This is very key because most young people think that because they are young, once they start receiving some form of salary, they can just spend that money and then start saving when they are able to secure a more stable or a more better job that is able to pay them what they want. Now, listen to me. If that is what you want to do, then guess what? You are never going to be able to save because if you don't even start while you receive the small salary, how would you be able to start saving when you start receiving the bigger one? And in our system or in our country, Ghana, the level of inflation keeps increasing. So you must understand that once you get the opportunity to secure yourself in any space where you are given some form of allowance or salary at the end of the month, it's important that as a young person, you don't squander everything. Start investing early so that by the time you are old, you would have something to live on or something to follow. Because if you don't start investing or saving at a very young age, trust me, when you wait until that period where you end up securing whatever dream job or dream profession that you want to get, at the end of the day, by then, guess what? You might be 40, you might be 50 years. And is that the time that you want to now start saving? I think that at that period is too late. So it is very important that as a young person, you start saving very early. You can start with any small amount that you have. You can start with 5 CDs a month, 10 cities a month, depending on the amount that you would want to save. And trust me, this is really going to go a long way to help you. So as you keep saving and you realize that your money is being accumulated to a certain level that you can use it for other bigger investments, then you proceed to maybe buying treasury bills, buying stocks, and the likes. Don't forget, you can also read books like The Psychology of Money to be able to give you more insight on some of these things. Mistake number 5, following lifestyle pressure. Now, this one is very important. Why am I saying that? Because most young people tend to live their lives to impress others. I know that, yeah, once you get into that young stage, you begin to feel that mindset of trying to please people. What does this person think about me? How would this person see me? What would that person take me for? Now, that is very, very important. I'm not trying to say that you don't have to look good. No, you must look good. But the problem is that today, most young people are just trying to impress others. And at the end of the day, they end up living fake lives. So you follow lifestyle pressure in the sense that even what you don't have, you try to borrow or you try to go to the extreme in order for you to be able to get that to impress other people. Meanwhile, that is beyond your reach. So you must be very intentional about your finances as a young person and don't measure your progress against somebody's demand or somebody's level for you. No, you must be able to determine or measure your own level of progress by yourself. And it should be something that should match with the amount that you get at the end of every month or your salary. So here they are again. Mistake number 1, no budgeting. Mistake number 2, living on credit. Mistake number 3, ignoring financial education. Mistake number 4, no savings or investment. Mistake number 5, following lifestyle pressure. You don't have to be rich to be wise. Trust me. You don't even need, 6 figures in your account for you to be faithful. All that it takes is intentionality. You just have to be intentional and tell yourself that, okay, so from today, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to download maybe a budgeting app. I'm going to read a book. I'm going to watch a finance video on YouTube, or I'm going to track all my expenses for every single day. Then, as you keep doing this, you start progressing. And remember, we don't rise by accident, we rise by decision. And today, you get to choose better. So, until next time, keep learning, keep growing. And remember, money is a tool, not your identity. So, use it wisely. It's me, your host, Patrick Divine, therefore, once again, signing out.